Hey Fandroids, welcome back to the Weekly Stack. Still workshopping the name. I think someone has trademarked Old Man Fanboy, so I am not going to go with that. Although I may still flash the title because, look, there's nobody more Old Man Fanboy than me. The rules of this are comics reviews based on every week. I go to House of Secrets in Burbank and I pick up the books that I have ordered through whatever distributorship. I think there's like 15 to 20. And then I look through the shelves and see if there's something else that catches my eye, etc. And occasionally somebody recommends a book to me, and then I go and say, hey, do you have this? And whatever, I catch up. You know that. So this week, I have actually read most of them, and I actually spent some time catching up on some, so that allowed me to read more. I'm going to start with one that I have raved about several times, which is Death to Pachuco. There we go. By Henry Barajas, Rachel Merrill, Lee Lawridge on colors, and Will Dennis is the editor. And oh yeah, Henry did the lettering. And this is just again why I admit it, man. I love uh, living down here, whereas, you know, if you've been a follower of Fanboy Planet for a long time, I was in Northern California because I walked in and I saw a couple of creators that I know, Josh Isaric, who actually lives in my neighborhood, and it was really cool to see him, and hopefully we'll get together again soon. And as I was getting rung up at House of Secrets, Henry Barajas himself walks in and says to the proprietors, oh, I just wanted to drop off some autographed copies. So you may see, yes, I got my number 5 autograph because I just turned to him and said, Henry, will you sign mine? I just paid for it. So he did. And then we talked about last week was Comics Pro, although it was ahead of time. So the last 3 days have been when I'm recording this on Saturday. And so unfortunately, I didn't get to attend Comics Pro because, as my joke right now is, you have to have more than one credit over the last 15 years. And right now, horror not hate is my credit. I hope there'll be more. So anyway, I raved about that experience, and then I have to say Death Pachuco, a very timely, very crucial book, which he does say at the end that he's hoping to use his detective again further, but I learned so much about the Zoot Suit riots, which I've known the name for most of my life and not really understood all the depth of what happened. And most importantly, right now, that I did not know about the Zoot Suit riots was that there were sailors in Los Angeles beating up the so-called Pachucos. They outlawed the Zoot Suits for some time as a result. And once again, you know, not only is it not a good time to be a Mexican, but the Mexicans were blamed for the violence committed against them, with the commanding officer of the Navy turning a blind eye or perhaps encouraging beating the crap out of Mexicans. And frankly, if that doesn't resonate with what's going on right now, if you don't see those parallels, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm really glad that I picked up that book in the first place, and really glad to have finally met Henry face to face, which I'd done before, but it was nice to be able to know, oh, hey, we know each other. Anyway, American Caper from Dark Horse Comics. This is issue number 4. And this is, of course, creator and writer is Dan Hauser. The producer and additional writing is a person named Laszlo. The artist David Lapham, who is all over the place right now. That's terrific. Colorist Lee Lowridge, there he is again. Letterer is Nate Picos of Blambot. And this is, I won't go too deep into this one. I've talked about it a few times. I don't know. This is a week right now where it's just really uncomfortable to be seeing a satire of what Americans value and what is happening with, I'm not going to say conservatives, because I think, you know, there's a difference right now. Maybe I'm splitting hairs and maybe somebody's mad at me for not accepting this, but that there are conservatives and then there are these way off to the right wing. I'm not even sure if it's fair to call them all MAGA. I guess they are. And so anyway, this was uncomfortable, but I'm enjoying it. I just want to know what the hell's going on and where it's going. So, like this book, but I'm saying it's not a comfortable read, and that's okay. Nor is this, I think, more than was originally intended. So one of the horror franchises, I guess we can call it a franchise because there's 2 films, or 2 and a short film that I have not seen, but I've seen the 2 films, that I've loved the potential of more really greatly for the last 5 years is Smile. I liked Smile 2 better than I liked Smile 1, but that's neither here nor there. And so they've done a, I guess you'd call it a prequel from IDW, and they're calling it IDW Dark. It's Smile for the camera. And this is by Hannah Rose May, and the artist is Mariana Puglia, and Drilla Kelly is, I believe, the letterer. And I think if I'm right here, this means it's an all-female creative team, and I'm here for it, especially because of where this goes. Now, the movie Smile was a doctor getting through, and they're trying to figure out all this stuff. The Smile 2 was a pop star who had been infected by this, and here it goes back to 2006 and the modeling world. And again, in a month where we are seeing these little, I mean, it's hard to fathom that I'm saying these are drips and drabs of the Epstein files, and also watching that documentary on Netflix about America's Top Model. This America's Next Top Model, sorry, this really hit hard. And like I said, maybe it's intended. I guess what most horrifies me is, of course, I was around, not super popular. I was a geek. I was running Fanboy Planet the year that this is set, and it does feel like, you know what, we knew and did turn a blind eye to a lot of stuff, and as a culture, and this is just pulling it right out there, and yeah, man, that's all I want to say. I really enjoyed this book, but it freaked me out. I'm going to Mad Cave for a first issue by Fearless Fred Kennedy and James Edward Clark. They say the laser drug force in the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre, #1. This was just fun. Again, yes, satire. A little too close to home, but at least you have hippos that are sort of oblivious to what's going on until, of course, they are fed cocaine. And so this is the first issue, and Mad Cave, like I said, you just don't go wrong with them. You might not want to pick up everything they put out because they put out a lot of weird stuff, but it's always good. So, as again, the criticism has been, I read a lot of DC, but I do like reading a lot of indies as well. It's just a matter of time, and Mad Cave is always one that I'm like, I gotta find out. It's like, Dick Tracy and Flash Gordon, those are kind of the mainstream ones, but these other stuff is just incredible. And so I really love this. I can't wait for issue 2, and I had a great time, an even better time than I thought I was going to have. This one had a great time. The Muppets Noir, Roger Langridge, returning, and I say returning because he did Muppets for Boom Studios, which has an omnibus that Marvel published of the Muppets, and you can probably find it on like half price because I think as an omnibus it didn't sell well. I picked it up at a Comic-Con and I was like, oh, I don't know why I'm carrying this around this long, but I it's a heavy book. But he understands the Muppets and the Muppet Show incredibly well. And at a time when we've got the Muppet Show threatening to come back, promising to come back, come on, Disney. It's nice to see there's a cartoonist, and I say that with the highest credit, a cartoonist who understands the Muppets so deeply. I love Roger Langridge's work. Colorist is Deirdre Kelly, who I think we just saw on Smile, and packager and editor is Nate Cosby, and this is from Dynamite Comics. So far, I think I've gone around through a bunch of indie publishers and not gotten to a mainstream, but here's a mainstream. You know what I did? Caught up on Ultimate Spider-Man just in time for the end. Ultimate Spider-Man #24. This is by Jonathan Hickman, who is, I guess you could say, the mastermind of the Ultimate Universe. And somehow this was the one book he wrote. And I have loved this from the beginning. And I saw a little critique this week on Threads saying, this was the Spider-Man, best Spider-Man in years. Truly. So Jonathan Hickman, the artists are Marco Cicchetto and David Messina. The colorist was Matthew Wilson, and the letterer is Corey Petty. Yeah, as I've mentioned before, I think, what's great about Ultimate is a month passes between issues, and this is wrapping up because we knew that after 24, we were going to get a final thing with Muppets, and sorry, I looked over at the Muppets. Going to get a final thing with the Ultimate Universe, and I hope that at least these characters get to live on. I don't want the entire Ultimate Universe to die, but yeah, I just really dig it. And anyway, so this ended on a very triumphant note, and I kind of hate that if they destroy the Ultimate Universe, they'll have ruined what was a perfect ending on a book. So anyway, they don't listen to me. Absolute Batman, introducing their Absolute Poison Ivy, which is Absolute Batman number 17 by Scott Snyder. And Eric Canet is the guest artist, Frank Martin is the colorist, and Clayton Cowles is the letterer. And Nick Dragotta is usually the artist. He's done the cover, but the interior is by someone else. I haven't read it yet. I did catch up, but for some reason I did not read this in my stack this week. So I guess I still have an Absolute Batman to look forward to. The Superman Unlimited, issue number 10. This would be Dan Slott, and I am not sure who. Oh, there we go. Artist is Mike Norton. As I've said before, I love Mike Norton. Colorist is Marcelo Maiolo, and the letterer is Dave Sharp. I think 2 issues behind, but I love Superman Unlimited. I love Dan Slott having fun with the character. This is the right time for that. And as I mentioned, I love how the prankster just makes no sense to me as a Superman villain, but that's never stopped me from enjoying a story with the prankster. So, Captain America number 7. That'd be, I do know, this is Chip Zdarsky. The artists are Delio Diaz and Frank Alpizar. The color artist is Romulo Fajardo Jr., and the letterer is VC's Joe Caramagna. And I suppose it's important to say VC's. But I again, don't know much about that. However, I do say this is Doom Shadow Part 2, which is the beginning of a new epic that's going to go into Armageddon Assembles, a big crossover. And I caught up to issue 5. So I finished the first arc by Zdarsky this week, and really appreciated what he's done to kind of reposition the early days of Captain America, and now getting us into present day. I really should start reading this. Or I should get to it this weekend because it'll be fun. Minor Arcana, I don't know why I didn't read it. I think I just kind of stopped. Got busy. Minor Arcana number 14. Am I right? Yeah. By Jeff Lemire and colored by Patricio Delpeche and lettered by Steve Wands. I dig this weird little book. Well, it's not little. It's just, Jeff Lemire always has something interesting to do with these concepts. I wish I could think like that. As a writer, I'm very slow coming up with sort of the inspiration for things. The exception being, once again, For Horror Not Hate. Anger drove me. But anyway, it's just cool. I ponder, how did you come up with that? World's Finest number 48, which looks like we've got, I don't know what Earth the crime syndicate's from now. Is that Earth 3 anymore? Earth 2? Anyway, it's the Dark Mirror, so we're seeing Ultraman and Owlman. Oh, and it is Earth 3. Mark Waid is the writer. Marcus Toe is the artist. Tamara Bonvillain is the colorist. And Steve Wands, again, is the letterer. Dan Mora doing the cover. And so I think this is Mark Waid retelling how Earth 3 works in this universe. Or in this new reality, in this new history of the DC universe. So, anyway, golly, I did read a lot, and I got through a lot faster than usual. So, thank you for continuing with this, and, write in. Of course, I will accept corrections of name pronunciations. I would appreciate, recommendations for other books, especially indies, because it is hard and to catch, if they have lesser circulation. It's hard to make a name, and I would love to, help amplify a good book. I can't tell you when or what right now, but I do know that I will be at WonderCon in the semi-professional capacity of being on a panel, and that's all I can say at this point. And once again, thank you so much. And yeah, if you're like me and the news is continually getting you down, we got to hold on to each other in our comics and the things that make us happy. And I know it's a luxury. I absolutely. It's a privilege that I can sit in this office and be surrounded by the things that make me happy. And here I'll flip up so you can see a little more of my Migos and action figures up there. Yeah, some of them are Migos, some of them are Mattel, some of them are others. But and my big little books and Micronaut and a lot of mess. Yes, because I have to go through it. But anyway, so hold together. Love to hear from you. Let me know. In the meantime, use your powers for good.